It's Alex here with another edition of the Modern College Newsletter. Today we're going to be talking about a really important topic for especially in COVID, and that's where you should actually search for internships and jobs during this time. So I think in past years there were like traditional channels you'd be going through around this time. I know I personally got more than one internship and job offer from these in-person career fairs, and with those being up in flux or some weird like virtual format right now, I wanted to spend some time talking about how you can actually get creative with online channels. So today we're going to talk about really three channels. The first is company websites, the second is job search sites, and the third is university resources plus a special bonus one. So let's get started with the first one. One thing that I feel like a lot of college students tend to overlook is that they don't even go directly to the source sometimes. Meaning, I'll talk to students who are like, "Oh, like I really want to go work in tech," and I'm like, "Okay, well, did you like go to any of the big tech companies' websites and check?" And they're like, "Well, no. Like I figured they'd be coming to campus." And honestly, this is a mistake. What you want to do is you want to go out of your way and look up the roles ahead of time. So, if you, as you can see on the screen, this is actually Tesla's career search website. They do a lot of these big companies will actually do a really good job of giving you tools to break down and search, right? Like you can select a category. You can even say like stuff like you can like literally put the word intern in, right? And it'll like literally show up their, it'll bring up their internships and all of this. So again, I would start with the websites first. You can apply on them, but to be honest, I feel like these are always kind of black holes. I look at the company website less of like this is the place I should go land the internship, and more of like now I know, a little bit about this role, now I can go on the other platforms and do it. And like one last thing I'll mention too, is that like sometimes you might want to, try to figure out how to find it in the first place. And again, it's easier than you think. You can like literally look up like, I don't know, Microsoft like internship program, right? And already some of the results are starting to come up. And like within the first couple ones, there'll be links that help, you find it. So again, it's just about being a little proactive. Look for, type literally into the search bar like internship and name, or like search and job function and name of the company, and you'll find it. The second main place I want to talk about is on an actual job search site or platform. So I'm biased. I work at LinkedIn, but I'm going to start here because honestly, I feel like we have a lot of tools built on top of it that really helps you. So if you look at this here, this is the jobs tab, and I was playing around with this a little bit today. Obviously, I'm a product manager, so a lot of the jobs coming up are within product management. But there's a lot of really cool like tools you can use here. So for instance, you can do any search you want, right? So you can do like internship, for instance, and it'll come up with like internships in the space I'm interested. You can also use all these filters like what type of job, company, et cetera, et cetera. The second is that you can then do like actual alerts for it. And this is what I think is one of the cooler features. So if you go to this job alerts, if you don't see anything you like right away, you can essentially set up an alert. So like I set one up today, which was basically like, hey, are there any product manager roles in New York City? Send me an alert if they are. Or, hey, like job recommendations. You can actually toggle that on and you'll get like email rundowns of the openings. So again, I'm not actively trying to leave right now, but it's still cool to like show these tools because if I did want to, this would be one of the first places I would start. I also think LinkedIn's cool because then once you see a role like this, like say I'm like, oh, this is like a really cool like role at like Open Table, right? It shows me like people I know that work there. It's like, oh, I have a connection that works there. Maybe I can go ask for a referral. It actually a lot of times will show the poster, so I could, especially if you have premium, you can actually send like a message to this recruiter directly. So again, this is one of the advantages to LinkedIn. In order to do it justice, I also wanted to, show some of the. I lied. One last thing about LinkedIn. If you're not seeing it in the job tab, there's too much. You can also go directly to the company itself. So this is somewhere in between like the Google search and landing on the company page and going to the jobs tab. Is you can go to the Pages product, which is actually what I work on at LinkedIn, and you can go to this jobs tab, right? And what I think is really cool about this is if you see a tab you like, right? And you're like, oh, I really want this role. Then you can again hop over to the people tab, and you can try to find someone in that role. So like, let's say I want to go into product management, like at Amazon, I see there's an open role. I could like type in that into the search bar for employees, and now it shows all the employees that work in that, right? And maybe I see someone, oh, like Christopher, I have 12 shared connections. Maybe I can connect with him and then ping him and ask for a referral. To do justice, right, there are other job platforms out there. So, for instance, there's Indeed. Again, with Indeed, like you can actually type in keywords, most of the search functionality you would want, right? Like I can type in like product manager in San Diego, and then again, it'll show you different roles that they have listed. Another cool site is Glassdoor. One of the things I think is cool about Glassdoor is they really focus on like the company culture. So if you know you want to work on a space, but you're like a little bit hesitant of like, oh, will I fit in at this company? Are they into the things I am? You can actually look at, when you go into here and you like log in, you can actually search for a company and, like check out what their reviews are from the actual employees. Okay, so we've gone over the going directly to a company's career website. We've gone over using other platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor. The last thing I want to focus on is for those of you that are still at university, definitely leverage the resources you have available. So in past years, what I found was super beneficial was the fact that there were these career fairs on campus. Obviously, that might not be happening, or it's some weird like remote sort of internship. That being said, if they have them, still go to it, right? Like you never know when it's going to work out in your favor. I always tell the story of like my first internship at Dell. I almost didn't go to the career fair. It was like a snowy night. I had a bunch of homework due the next day. I literally failed my computer program by choosing to go there, but I went for the last 15 minutes. I happened to make a connection, and that was my first internship that really set up my whole career. So even if it's something virtual, go to that. A lot of schools are still, I know, using tools like Handshake. I don't have a Handshake account to go through this, but again, if you have it, tap into it. If you have like a student job posting board or your school has any places where they're posting those jobs, definitely hit those up as well. Okay, and now for the last one, this is the bonus one I talked about, and that's basically bring the jobs to you. So one of the things you notice I'm doing now is I'm creating content. I'm putting myself out there. This email is going to go out to a couple dozen people. Granted, it's early, but I also have other sources. Like I have a newsletter, for instance, that 30,000 people subscribe to. So every time I set that out, I'm getting tens of thousands of people's eyes on me. And as an employee or as a college student or a recent grad, one of the best things you can do is start to build your online presence so that people start coming to you. So let's say you're interested in the space of like neuroscience. You can start a neuroscience newsletter, hit up your friends first, even if they don't care, get them to subscribe to build a little traction. It'll start to grow, right? And then maybe one day that newsletter ends up in someone who can hire you for a role. That's the power of online content. It basically allows you to go viral and get yourself in front of people in a way like a typical profile or direct outreach wouldn't. So that's to summarize. Those are 3 great channels with a bonus 4th one for how to actually find jobs and internships during COVID. I know it's a difficult time. Don't give up. I had the same feeling myself when I was going through it, and I ended up okay. So don't give up, and hopefully this course was helpful to all of you. Take care.